here we go. Hey everyone, welcome back. So, let's see about finishing this piece. Oh, come on. You wanna maybe crash after I finish with a piece? Okay. I promised myself not to bitch about bad drivers. Well, it's clearly not my fault. Okay. Pressure. Pressure! Okay, here we go. So, left this guy in my last stream. Left him high and dry and with semen stains all over his face. So, since we moved some stuff around, let's go ahead and fix them up. Fix up all these gaps. I am also going to fix all these, fix the mouth. Blah, 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 blah. Fix the mouth. So, dropped the deposit, so now I owe only $270 on my credit card, which is grand and amazing. Phantasmo. So just a little bit more, and I will be out of that shithole. That is my credit card debt. Okay. Let's see if I can kind of let's see if I can kind of use this line to my advantage. So I don't want that for sure. The smudge tool makes everything look just far too blurry, so I'm gonna have to rework it with the actual brush. But other than that, let's see, let me like pick this color and just kind of have at it with this piece. Actually, that doesn't really make much of a difference. Just fill these things up. The average tone. Get rid of the semen mustache. Yada yada yada. $270 and I'm free. I am free. That line, get rid of all this stuff. I'm gonna have to rework it anyways. I just want to get rid of the white thing, the white lines. here we go. Alright, so let's see what I can do with this mouth. First of all, I'd say maybe something like this. First of all, this entire shade here makes it look like he's got a bum lip, which just does not work well. Not really. And it's also kind of because of me moving this stuff around. Oh well. Let's just rework all of this stuff. These don't have to be cracked lips anyways. These will have to be cracked lips either way. And I really don't want to do too much blurring though. It's not good. Doesn't look good. Okay. So something like this would probably look more terrifying. So obviously, the bottom part is the one that's more exaggerated because it's the jaw that's moving. I'll probably, well, you know what? Considering that the other rendition of this particular face is going to be without the lower jaw, I might as well just kind of go ahead and add this over here. Let's see. In this case, I'd have to lower the jaw a bit. Let me at least just kind of try this out. Here we go. Okay, what I actually usually see with these types of mouths is that they are often long, but not very wide. Yeah, it took us a little while. Kind of had to have a bit of a detour on our way, considering it wasn't just for going to the bank. We had to get rid of some garbage. And there's a York Region waste disposal site where you're supposed to go to do that stuff. Certain things cannot be thrown out in regular residential garbages, like car tires and whatnot. Okay, so let me look at some references. Actually, need to get them references, man. Need to get them references. Yelling face man. Okay. So a little bit of a square shape, and it's going down like a triangle. So like this. Let me save this and actually use this in the thing. Wayholm references, facial expressions. You know, I should probably not do a separate reference for each. Whoops. Not what I want to do. Should probably not be doing a separate reference, separate set of references for each different project. Should probably have just one single pool of references. How did I come up with the name of my channel? I think in college I had this idea for making a like I used to have a different channel called VIP Kid, and this channel was more music related, so music tutorials. I have this synthesizer called the Microkorg, and the Microkorg is this like very versatile actually, but a little outdated DSP synth. So I was making tutorials on that, and in high school I wanted to make another channel that essentially this was going to be a presentation channel, so to speak, for my video games. So what I was gonna do is I was gonna draw a lot of concept art, considering that I was in the concept art course in college. And I was gonna basically make these video presentations where I take all of my games and I go through the script of the games, what the story is, and I'm gonna be showing the concept art for the game as I go along the story, so that basically, you know, this would be like a pool of my projects that I wanted to do. And that's what the channel is for, basically taking my ideas, putting them, narrating them, explaining all the aspects of the game, mechanics, story, design choices, and the concept art imagery would be there to kind of reinforce the visual aspect of it. But and that's how I came up, you know, the Concept Boys, so the channel where I present the concepts of my games. But later on, I kind of went back to this kind of idea that it's probably not a good idea to be just vastly blabbering about my game ideas, because plagiarism and copyright infringement and people just blandly stealing ideas and stuff. So, and that's kind of what my whole thought process was before I kind of was looking into opening this channel. And I figured, maybe not. Maybe it'll raise enough attention that the videos that I upload about my game ideas would actually serve as kind of like a timely archive. It's called like a poor man's copyright. It's when you take, for example, a song. For example, poor man's copyright with music is when you write some music and you record it, you put it on a CD, and then you go to a postal service and you mail that CD to yourself. So basically, the postal service, since the postal service is a government entity, they would put a stamp, a time date, and have it documented. So if you at some point like publish your music, and at some point some dickhead decides to steal it, you will, prop open the envelope and say, evidence. This is a government stamp with the government date, and that's basically my proof that I wrote this first, not this asshole. That's the poor man's copyright. Well, I don't know. It was kind of like I wanted to, I don't know. It was kind of like maybe a superhero idea influence, because I was like heavily into like Batman cartoons and whatnot. So I don't know. It just sounds better than the concept man. It doesn't roll off the tongue as easily. But it's a name that I came up like way back. There's really no sense in changing the name at this point. It's like Hellboy, right? I mean, it's not like when Hellboy became this buff giant dude, he had to change the name to Hellman, right? Okay, so this guy looks way too happy. And his mouth is way too wide. Ah, damn it, where's the reference? Where is the reference? There we go. Concept of reference. Facial expressions. Open that with photo viewer and run my little thing and control space, and that will be on top. I don't really pay much attention to like the name of the channel. It's a trivial matter. Okay, so this facial expression is just terrible. Actually, I'm pretty sure that this entire mouth would have to be like shifted this way. Hellboy wasn't the son of the devil. He was basically a messenger of these like space world consumers from a parallel dimension. So, but then again, I mean, there's a lot of like religious stuff. Like they use holy water, silver bolts, all that good jazz. So, I don't know. Please tell me I'm on the right layer. Yes, I'm actually drawing on the right fucking layer. Let me just beat that part of it. Okay. So, let me get some more references here. You want to see something funny? Just something funny that I just remembered. Okay, so you know the movie The Watchmen. That came out. You know, the whole smiley face button. Okay, so check this out. Dr. Manhattan. Oh no, they fixed it. They fixed it. They totally fixed it. Let's see. Hold on. This this was popping up on the Google homepage when you put in Dr. Manhattan, and sometimes it still does, and this is hilarious. Even with safe search on, it still like pops up here from time to time. It is absolutely hilarious. Just don't tell anyone. Anyways, no more dicking around. I have my power in my laser. Yeah, freaking. Good job, Google. Your safe search is officially useless. Oh boy, this movie came out. This blue guy, Dr. Manhattan, he looks so cool. Let me Google him and research. Oh, let me look at some pictures. This guy's so cool. And, you know, that happens. and suddenly he who once was a boy becomes a man. A concept man. Yeah, the concept man doesn't sound right. It's just, yeah. Yeah, that mouth looks just fucking weird. Absolutely weird. Let me take a look at what, let's see. Nazi zombies. Not the movie. The game. Call of Duty. Actually, here we go. It's got so much. Yeah, so it's just a general, like, triangular shape, so, you know, instead of this stuff. These lines. Don't need those. And then just get rid of that. Get it up to the general tone of the rest of the face. So it seems like let's see. So generally something like a basic triangular shape, but that was very cartoonish though. See, this is kind of why I started doodling stuff here. And the thing is, I'm not too sure about teeth because it's not a zombie. This is not a zombie creature. It's not supposed to bite. It's supposed to basically suck the living soul. So, you know, it's kind of like a blow-up doll. It's just a very paranormal blow-up doll. So, and this is kind of why it's more circular than round. There is no sense in having teeth, just like there's no sense in having eyeballs with the eye sockets. So trust me, when the game is playing, it, you know, even with the mouth, it's not going to look like it's a blow-up doll. That will be the last of your thoughts. It's just that I can't seem to get the mouth right in perspective. That's why it looks so weird. Yeah, let me actually do this on a separate layer. And this is only one rendition of the Phantom. Still got to do a few more. actually done it. Can't believe I actually finally paid off. Well, finally, almost paid off the fucking card, man. Well, this doesn't look so bad, actually. And since it's on a separate layer, I can kind of get rid of these white lines like this. So it's a nice big, unnatural-ish, like uncannily wide open mouth. So I can kind of just reiterate the shape with it. Like, it wouldn't go like this. Unless it would. If it fits in the perspective. There's a way of... I guess this would kind of be... This should be alright. Alright, here we go. This is good. Here we go. Now, I can actually kind of blend it in properly. And I'm gonna have to make like chipped dry lips. What do you think could you make success your game like FNAF? I'm sorry, what? If you're trying to speak English, I don't think you're doing it right. Okay, I just wanted you to make something cringy so it would become next meme. Oh yeah, oh, well, you know, there's plenty of content on this channel that will become cringy and meme-like. There's plenty of stuff. And in regards to your other question, the first rendition, or the game that was in the demo was based off of the version of the game that's pretty much very reminiscent of the FNAF game mechanic. With the FNAF, it was basically survive the 6 hours, right? And then you got 7 days to do it for levels, and each day the thing would become harder and harder, but it's always the same, you know, the same several characters that you kind of have to work with. But I really want to kind of deviate from that idea and not do another... I want to make a game that will not be classified as another FNAF fan game. That's why I had another project that was based like this. It's called fuck, why can I never remember these names when I need them? It's called Dormant Inc., and it's basically a project name until I can come up with a name that's more appropriate. But I have been working on that game for a little while, and just to explore the options of basically making a 3D rendered but a 2D game in GameMaker Studio. So let's see. Here we go. So this was made completely in Maya, and you can see all the cameras set up for the movement between the rooms. And I have actually, hold on, I have way more things in the actual game project. Let's see. Dormant Inc. Screenshots. Yeah. So basically, you know, same shit. Dark room, and you kind of stuck in this this underground. Well, the basic idea here was that you are an investigative journalist, or you're like a private investigator who was hired to break into the long since shut down robotics factory. And in this factory, you were basically intel collecting. If there's anything left, any sort of resources, any sort of documents left in this abandoned building after it's been just completely emptied by the corporation when it went bankrupt. And you kind of, when you explore, you fall through this the weak floor frames, and you fall into this secret compartment, this hidden zone where there was still a batch of animatronics left in there. And these were basically like research. This was basically a creation of robots for entertainment purposes, but with extra, you know, side contracts, maybe from the military, maybe from something else. Nobody knows. And the game. Yeah, okay, so the game basically starts when you kind of explore and you walk around and you fall through the floor onto this level, and that's basically you got stuck there. You, after exploring the little catacomb, that's basically, you know, the little screenshot you saw on Twitter actually. You find out that there is a way to open the main door, the only door that leads outside of this place, but you need to power up the mainframe that controls the door. And the mainframe is powered by the only few functioning solar panels left on site, which basically take a long time to load up. So you spend, you know, like what, 5 days, 7 days in the underground. But when you activate when you activate the solar panels, you automatically get transferred to or you enable all the dormant animatronics that were still there, as like it's a part of software development research. So the secret project that's running in the background of this legitimate little entertainment business, or entertainment creation business. So yeah, it's let me see, let me place the room go to next code here. So it starts with, you know, being in 2D, and after exploring a little bit, maybe just getting a little bit of backstory in place, you appear inside of this 3-dimensional rendered area. And I made a tutorial, like this is basically how you start. You know, you looking through a camera, and it's a little eye straining, and you know, this was just basically a concept before. So a little slow, switching between different rooms, or different areas. So you can see it's got a very like VHS style to it, at least at this point. I'd probably have to tone down the thing. So dialog boxes would pop up, and you say, okay, I'm here, I have to find this, this, and that. Maybe put a little bit of background story that the guy is, you know, kind of running out of money, he has to do this. This is just kind of like big opportunity. So character building, story, background, introduction. So he kind of walks around this this facility, and you know, not too much stuff going on here. It's basically just kind of atmosphere setting. And you know, here we have the solar panels up there. Some of the stuff has not been coded in, so you know, apologies. This project, like, it's at some point when I work on these projects, they just become kind of a big commitment, and you have to really assess whether, you know, these projects start as fun little ideas and they kind of slowly grow and grow. And that's why most of my projects, I've stopped working on most of my projects, because simply because they became too big for me alone to handle. Right, so you'd be walking through this thing, and the lines do become a little eye straining, and that's just how it is. I would have to figure that out at some point when I come back to this project. And this by no means a project I wouldn't go back to, because I did put quite a bit of time already into it. So exploring, and you'd fall in through that area after kind of going through this hallway. So very, very heavily stylistic stuff. And afterwards, after I'd go here and go back, I'm not sure if I actually even coded in the cave-in system, or the cave-in code. Like, you would walk here and they would just kind of, there you go, and it would catch you by surprise and go to the next room. So that's as far as that game was basically gone. And all the other stuff was basically just screenshots of the stuff that I was posting online. Yeah, these screenshots. This is supposed to be a terminal. So yeah, you get stuck in this level. So this would be a 3D rendered level. You get stuck down there, and you're supposed to hold out the hostile animatronics running on some custom firmware that the owner of the factory was developing himself. So you're supposed to hold out while those solar panels charge up the mainframe that will open up the main doors for you to exit. And the issue comes up when the more the batteries charge up from the solar panels, the more animatronics come back to life. And you kind of have to defend yourself from that. Let's see, assets. Did I have any audio here? Graphics, backgrounds. First test room. See, I even used the FNAF office to kind of figure out how the whole screen bending thing was used, and this is actually how I came up with the tutorial for making the 3D shader, and it's on my channel, and I did a tutorial on that. It's got like 2,000 views, I think, by now. Third-party factory, and these were all done in Flash. Maya level, this is like the actual 3D level. Animations, yeah. Decoder. Oh, this is kind of cool. This was I was gonna use the NASA's picture, like audio to picture conversion software. This is basically like earlier NASA. Well, I'm not sure if they still use the system, but way before, NASA would like equip satellites with audio transmitters or signal transmitters, and they would convert a picture into audio signal. So they would take, okay, this picture is 500 pixels by 500 pixels. So the first pixel is supposed to be like a light green. So they would assign a tone to that particular picture, and they would assign a trigger tone that would say, okay, move on to the next picture. Or they would just transfer the signal at a certain rate, so they know that the first pixel takes this amount of time to define, right? Like 0.000 something microseconds to define. And then it just that's actually how asynchronous serial ports on computers work. They don't have a clock signal that says, oh, go to next piece of data, go to next piece of data, go to next piece of data. It kind of just runs asynchronously, expecting two pieces of hardware running at the same clock speed. But essentially, they would send out this audio signal back to like home base, and they would run the software through the decoder and get the images they want through that way. And I'm pretty sure they're not using that system anymore. That's like a really outdated system. But this is how you convert audio back into images. So it was a really nifty way of doing it. And I'm basically was gonna use like encoded messages as audio signals. The player would have the ability to broadcast that signal as kind of like a scapegoat or a little defense mechanism in order to, like, for example, pause or kind of glitch the animatronic if he was getting too close. And if you took that audio signal, it would just make it basically sound like gibberish. But if you took that audio signal, run through the decoder, for example, you would see an image of the space where the player was, but this was a pre-rendered image of nobody being there. So it's like the robot was receiving the signal and processing it, and it would basically see the image instead of what was actually in its eyes, and the image would say, "There's nobody there, leave," right? And the animatronic would leave. So that was kind of like a little Easter egg that was working on. Yeah, lots and lots of projects that I've basically haven't done yet. As I said, right now I have to make a project that's profitable. You know, the only time I can work on these projects for the sake of just, you know, working on these projects is when I have a stable source of income, like a business or like a game that would sponsor my next project, and, you know, I don't have to go to a part-time job in order to pay my bills. It's only at that point is when I can go back to all these projects that may not, like, appear profitable at first. See, you should take that that comment, that game company should hire me, and you should take that comment and just email every single game company. Like, yo man, check out this guy's YouTube channel. He's really cool. You should hire him. But I kind of think that everybody's got ideas. You know, every schmuck can come up with game ideas. It's whether or not they can execute those ideas and bring them to life and bring them into the real world as tangible product. Because, you know, game companies, yeah, they're game companies, they're game studios, but it's still a for-profit business. You're supposed to make profit in there. So you kind of have to, do we have pressure? Holy shit, we still have pressure sensitivity. That is awesome. So I guess it's just, I can't leave my computer dormant, is what it is. But anyways, yeah, this is kind of why I'm working on these projects right now in such a, like, detailed manner. So not going into modeling right away, but, you know, starting with concept art. It is to make sure that this project can be brought to life. And when you have a project, when you have a game where you've done a lot of, like, this kind of preparation work, a lot of visuals, that actually helps you when you're looking for a job in a game company, because you have not only just the game, but you have tangible assets and designs that you can show. You know, it's not as simple as just opening Game Maker and starting to program a game. You kind of have to professionally approach this the game creation process. Thanks, man. That's it's definitely nice words. So, thank you. The only way right now is I can just concentrate on a single project at a time, so the only way you can help is pick up an album and fund this particular project instead of, you know. My dream right now, or my kind of goal, is to get a project going that would be sufficient enough to fund either my next game or fund my dad's film project, considering that's like a whole other subject, trying to get funding for a project that's not heavily, like, Canadian patriotism involved. or having just a lot of contacts in that field, but basically, here's the thing. I really want my dad here. He's a fantastic scriptwriter, and I'm not just saying because he's my dad. I'm saying because most of these scripts, not all of them, but most of these, like, I learned how to write scripts from him, and whenever I have a script, I would always run by him to make sure that I'm not doing some finicky stuff at some point. So these what I want to do is I want to rent a house or buy a house and outfit one of the rooms as a local game studio, like CD Projekt Red when they just started out, right? And run the game development from there. That is basically what I'm kind of trying to get to in these kind of years, so to speak, in these upcoming years. That is sort of my goal. And obviously I want to kind of share some of the income from the game development with my dad, so that he can start working on his movies without having to depend on the opinions and just the editors who raise the funds, because they're it's just never-ending bickering. It's like game publishers always butting into the design phase of video games in order to ensure a more profitable product, right? But a more profitable product does not always mean a better quality product, and that's kind of stupid. But then again, take a look at like Assassin's Creed franchise, right? Lots of games have been sold, but the quality has been going down. I know that if my dad gets a chance, an opportunity to make a movie, he's not going to have to depend on anyone else to do it. He has the Ministry of Culture membership in Europe, right? But it's worth shit in Canada, because you're worth nothing when you move to Canada. It's fucked up. And it's sort of understandable with certain fields. For example, if you're a doctor, and a lot of like dentists, doctors coming into like Canada for their kids, they will have to revalidate their doctorate degrees from other countries to prove that they are qualified to do this in Canada, right? Because only Canadian and American papers would prove that you can practice your trade in Canada and America when it comes to trades like medical involved trades. So it's fucked up. It's extremely fucked up. So you have to depend on contacts, or you have to depend on just redoing like thousands upon thousands of dollars of education you've done, wherever you come from. It doesn't matter, as long as it's not like Canada and America. I think Canada and America's education is kind of just self-contained. Well, that's what I'm saying. Every schmuck can, but not everyone does. And every schmuck can come up with stories. Not everyone can bring those stories back to life, or bring those stories to light, so to speak, with a complete project, right? And until I get my games out of this idea in my head, or this Word document that's just basically covers the story, there's no sense in me even like applying for a job. Because the only other way I would get hired is as a concept artist with a diploma, and only as a concept artist, not as a game developer or a programmer with a diploma, right? There's no sense even think about it. Most of these ideas are ideas of projects that I have to execute myself. You know, I can't come to a gaming company and say, I have an idea for a game. It's like, yeah, so do, you know, like a couple hundred other people. Or that would be basically just you on a quest of convincing some rich guy to put money into your project, which is basically every single indie game / indie movie ever made, ever conceived. The only time you can think about anything else than profitability is when you have like loads and loads of money. Like Steam. Steam has a fucking ridiculous amount of money. They, even though they haven't made a game in a while, they are extremely participant in aiding indie developers, right? Like, for example, this game got greenlit on Steam Greenlight because this was a VR title, or it became a VR title along the line. And they said, okay, well, this is a VR title. Since Valve is very interested in pushing the VR scene and kind of just, you know, giving it baby steps, indie developers are willing to step into VR development. So they're aiding developers with some programs. But once again, I have to make a product that is visibly demanded. So people, not only it's a product that is completed, not only it's a physical executable of a game that people can run on their games and they can enjoy and they can make videos on them and, you know, blah 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 and yada yada yada. It also has to be a product that people demand, which is where the whole idea of building an audience for your project comes in. And the most optimal time for that is right now during development. So another part of the reason why I'm doing live streams, it's because I'm trying to kind of raise awareness and get people to follow the development of this project, you know, stay in touch with it. Because believe it or not, most games become popular or most games, like most indie games, their audience, like the people that they sell the game to, do not come in when the game comes out. They actually get a hold of that audience during development. And this is the job of the marketing department or the social management media person. They are the ones who are posting updates, images, pieces of concept art, just raising hell and spreading rumors about this game, right? And that's how you get exposure. So people start following your project, people start asking questions. So what's this game about? When is it coming out? When's the demo going to be available? And the more people do that, the more of a following. So that's basically your following. And those are the people who will end up buying your game. And when they buy the game, people who have not been following your project, but people who are the friends of your followers, will see the game. Your followers will endorse the game if it's, you know, provided it's a good project, and you put a lot of time into it, put a lot of effort into making sure that it is a good product. And that is how a project becomes popular. I think that's also how Five Nights at Freddy's came to be. It was a little project, but it had a following of a few people. And once it came out, it just all hell broke loose. You know, actually, interesting enough, I don't see why there's people who say they say things that should just die, and they, you know, list the Five Nights at Freddy's project as a part of that. Five Nights at Freddy's was made by one fucking guy. One guy who made 5 games, 5 extremely profitable games. One guy who created a universe, right? Taking in all the input, all the theories, all the stuff, putting it into a story, right? Like consumer haters will say, oh, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's is garbage. It's like, yeah. Have you seen how much money that project has made? Clearly there's an appeal. And if the game was truly garbage, the fan base would let Scott Cawthon know that it's garbage. They would voice their disapproval with some design choices, with some story choices. But, you know, if he keeps the fans of the project satisfied, the people who hate the project are irrelevant because they just hate. They don't provide a tangible feedback. Right? Like, there's people who, like, for example, with laptop companies, there's people who will rip on, like, Lenovo for doing some poor design choices. Not because they hate the product, but because they actually like the brand, and they just want to see it become better. So that's why they'll be honest with their feedback. Spread it to 4chan. Those sick bastards will find you in seconds. You know what? If this project could get funded, and I could hire some people to do the models and get some texture done, so that, or even basically hire a programmer to do the programming, I would fucking do it. Absolutely. I did try to start a Kickstarter, but the Kickstarter failed because, as I said before, Kickstarter, you know, it's just a money collecting platform. It's not a promotional platform. They're not going to go around telling people, oh yeah, no, this game just came out, you know, go ahead and, you know, check it out. If you like it, put some money into it. There's a lot of people that I see on Twitter. A lot of people who say, thanks everybody, this project has been funded. I appreciate everyone's help. They always have like 5,000 followers. So you can see that it's not Kickstarter that promotes their project. It's their followers who have been following the developer for a very long time, who say, oh yeah, no, like I've been watching this guy for a long time. He's worth his shit. I'm gonna totally put money into his project because I know that he's gonna make it happen. And there's this artist, I think I posted her here. Her name is Mary Cagle. At Cube Watermelon on Twitter. She, let me actually look her up. Cube Watermelon, Mary Cagle. So let's see. 18,000 followers. And this is her last Kickstarter, which happened maybe like a month or 2 months ago. Fully funded with a whole lot of extra legroom. And she's an artist, right? She does like comic book stuff. And very talented artist at that. Right? It's her followers that have been following her art for a very, very long time, and who got her project greenlit. Not greenlit, funded. So yeah, it's kind of part of the reason why I'm doing this stuff right now. Why I am up here, or guess I'm down here in my chair, making the concept art for this game while live streaming. I don't have to be live streaming, right? But I still need to raise awareness for the project. And I mean, even like at this point, there isn't really all that much stuff to promote, right? Because yes, I have started this game. Yes, I have a playable demo, but the playable demo at this point is no longer a representation of what I want this project to be. Considering I'm redesigning this game from scratch. Yeah, with the comment on 4chan, even though people say, yeah, no, post it on 4chan, a lot of things get popular because they get posted on 4chan. Things don't get popular because developers post their stuff on 4chan. Maybe rarely. Things get popular because some guy who is already on 4chan, who has some 4chan followers or whatever equivalent they have, said, oh, I came across this project. It looks really cool. You guys should check it out. And they check it out, and, you know, people who follow this individual would usually share his tastes. So he basically just forwarded his followers. He's been doing that kind of heavy promotion right now because I don't have anything playable at this point. But then again, you know, this is like fresh ground in terms of marketing for me with these kind of projects. Wow, this thing is ugly. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So I would understand when I'm getting like into the programming, for example, when I have models of enemies and I have animations for the enemies and I have like something that's already sort of playable. Maybe early access. Graphics card is a GTX 750. Yes. And the computer that's besides me is basically the exact same copy. Here. So I've got a Core 2 Quad Q8300. This is almost a 10-year-old processor. But it's powerful enough to run Unreal Engine, so I figured, might as well. And I can run Payday 2. And I use Payday as a reference quite a lot because Payday 2 looks like a great game. So if I can make a game that looks as good as Payday by, you know, performance conservation, then I really don't need the latest top-of-the-line art machine. Like, I would probably want to make a latest top-of-the-line spec machine for, like, 3D animation. Because I actually wanted to do to run a little channel, like YouTube channel of like CGI, heavily like using green screen stuff. Let's see, where's my other folder? Eisenstadt Studio Film. Think so? No, this is like, wow, this is like a really old. Where is the film? Okay. Anyways, yeah, like I wanted to do this like green screen stuff because we have a green screen setup downstairs for like basic animation and mock-up stuff. And I wanted to use that for making these like exploration videos where I would mock up like a 3D scene, a three-dimensional scene, like of like an abandoned bunker, right? Maybe it would be haunted, maybe, you know, whatever. And I would go in there, and with the camera, and I would explore the bunker with the camera tracking, right? So like a little CG idea, like that. Unfortunately, computer is this particular build is not strong enough to render high definition graphics that look realistic, because in order to make stuff look realistic, you need to use a lot of shaders, you need to use ambient occlusion, multiple render passes. My computer would render like a 10-second little clip for like 2-3 days. And I figured, yeah, I really need a stronger rig, like an i7 processor kind of rig, in order to do that the work of that kind of caliber. I would use it for 3D animation and modeling. As you can see, Photoshop runs just fine. Don't need a top-of-the-line machine for that. And if I do game development on a lower-end machine and it runs fine, then I know it will automatically be just fine on the like top-end stuff. You know? And I'm not like a hardware junkie. I don't need to have the latest and greatest. Really not important. And I don't do enough gaming to justify, buying the latest and greatest stuff. I would justify it for 3D animation, for modeling. Definitely justify it for those purposes. I can't see myself putting in a lot of money just for gaming, right? I would probably prioritize like film, CG stuff over gaming, even though I do game development. Okay, let's see. So let me get this thing out. Just kind of average this area. Average that area. Bring the things down here a bit. This just looks ugly. So yeah, if you want to post the project, then for sure. Probably want to maybe post the mention the live stream more than the project itself, because I think the live streams is probably the most direct way of getting like an audience together. Oh yeah, sorry. I don't pay enough attention to the chat, or as often I should say. Yeah, no, it's not. It's just OBS kind of dropping connection, reconnecting, so no. I hope not. That actually looks really cool, that little contrast there. Kind of makes it look like the skin is peeling. Like that, and I would probably have to go in with a light brush just to emphasize on the shadow with a light touch up there. Here we go. That looks kind of cool, yeah. Cheap. I would get rated ASAP. Why would I get rated ASAP? Did you call SWAT team on me? You better not have. You need a big audience to drive sales and establish a community. I mean, hell, FNAF community is ginormous. FNAF community is almost as big as the Minecraft community, because they kind of share you know, it is a mystery story, so they kind of share a lot of the same target demographic. And I have like nothing against the FNAF franchise, you know, because what I see is a game developer who made a successful game, you know, and someone who has something to learn from. And the funny thing is, I've only played like the first FNAF game. And that was like way after it actually became popular. Like, I've not passed a single FNAF game. I've watched like YouTubers play the FNAF game though. Like I watched Markiplier play every single FNAF title for the sake of entertainment. I really need to make this gadget. I really need to make this gadget for digital painting. Were you here when I was talking about it? The little painting gadget I had in mind? Totally in the realm of possibilities. Okay, here we go. So we're kind of getting a little carried away with the detail on this side, and I need to concentrate on some obvious mistakes elsewhere. Well, when you have a big audience, that's when you get moderators and people you can trust. It's inevitable there will be trolls, but it depends on how you carry your live stream. Like yesterday, things were getting a little out of hand because I was just making a lot of jokes, not really making a lot of progress, and you know, like by closer to the end of the stream, I was like, okay, you know, I kind of have to get some work done, and that's when I just started ignoring most of the jokes, just for the sake of, you know, kind of not enforcing that sort of behavior. You know, fun times have their own limits. We can have fun. There's enough time to have fun. So yeah, it's just a matter of having the right people as your moderators who can kind of keep an eye out on the chat. And since I'm doing these daily streams, I figured at some point I gotta raise enough hell, so to speak, on YouTube to attract more attention. Usually when you have like 5-6 people watching at the same time, that's when you can kind of get the attention of people dropping in and taking a look at your stuff. I don't. No, not right now at least. I do occasionally though, but not when I'm at home. Because childcare center, and there's no way bringing a smoke, like smelling smoke, coming home is a good idea. Definitely not. That would would be a shitty, shitty way to completely destroy your business. Considering that we have to run a childcare center from our home. That would be the dumbest thing one could ever do. It's probably the tablet, the drawing tablet kind of makes squeaky noises sometimes. Could be. I don't know. Man, I'm kind of hungry. I feel like ordering pizza, but I don't have any money. And no, I'm not using the credit card. I will have to now restrain myself and keep myself in check on what I spend my money on. Even like when I bought this tablet, this was kind of just a spur of the moment. I was live streaming, the tablet was just terrible, and I ended up buying the tablet online, live on stream, but that purchase put my credit card back to overusage, like over $1,000 limit. Interestingly enough, I actually had a bank call me like years ago asking if I wanted to increase the limit of my card, and I declined that offer because, well, my credit habits were really like well self-contained. I always kept my credit card in a very low average, and then kind of shit just went to hell and I slipped, I guess. Lost self-control and just kind of started spending way too much money on like game development software, and at least it was game development software. I wasn't buying like games or, you know, gaming consoles. I was buying software, but even still, it wasn't the best of all choices. I remember like I financed a lot of audio gear, like microphones, a field recorder, with the Cosmo Music that's located in like up on Elgin Mills Road in Richmond Hill. Financed like almost $700 of audio hardware, which I still find use for today. You know, it wasn't a total purchase. That's the only thing. Like, I don't spend my money on like entertainment stuff. I spend my money on gear, hardware. And even though it's gear, it's still a bad idea to be spending money you don't have. That's what a credit card is. That's money you don't have. And yes, you will get the purchase done, but later on, that money is coming out of your pocket. And it sometimes will come out of your pocket at the most inopportune moments. Like the moment when you need money the most. Okay, so the back of his head is pretty much the most area that I have not done much work on. Like, for example, this muscle ligament here, or at least that's what it looks like. I have to kind of improve on that. Anyways, yeah, like I have this idea. I might actually even do it, considering it would not cost me too much to do it. It would not cost me too much to do it. Basically, right now I have to like click on the keyboard in order to increase and decrease the size of my brush. So, considering I do programming, microcontroller programming, there is this device called the rotary encoder. And the rotary encoder is essentially this. It's technically a potentiometer. It's a knob, but there's an actual potentiometer, like this, which you turn, and it returns a constant value. So you constantly read value from it. Or there's this one, which is more like returning clicks. So when you turn it, you can feel a click and you can hear a click. So what happens is I can program my microcontroller to read the clicks when I turn the potentiometer, and every time it clicks in one direction, it will press the forward square bracket or the closing square bracket, which will make my brush smaller. And if I rotate in the other direction, it's going to make the brush bigger. And it's a very quick thing, and I can kind of make it, I'd say in... Oh shit, I actually have the tools for that. I might actually make it. Huh. Well, we'll see how this stream goes. I'll probably make it like a little bit later on. But considering that I'm using the brush pressure to control the opacity of the brush, I would probably need that separate, the separate little device in order to, the separate gadget to quickly change the brush size, because this is like taking a lot of time. There we go. There you go. You're studying electronics, what's your program? What are you like studying? Engineering? Programming? I feel like mechatronic in school. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, but I deal with more microcontroller programming and general circuitry. Like one of my other hobbies is microcontroller, like basically music hardware engineering, where I program microcontrollers to read like MIDI data from keyboards, and I make sequencers and whatnot. So another reason why I'm so excited that I've paid off the credit card, or that I have the credit card so low, is that the extra money that I get from not getting sodomized by fees and overage fees and monthly interest, I'm going to be able to use that to purchase circuit board printing from like Chinese manufacturers, so that I could jumpstart the development and commercial sale of these little sequencers and devices. Yeah. Microcontroller programming is fun. You can make a lot of very useful tools. Okay, let me concentrate on the back of my head, because that is just a really neglected area. So many clean surfaces, so to speak. You know what? Funny you should say that. That sounds like me in high school, but there's like Google already has quite a lot of like study tools, for bringing like studying to a cloud form. Like Google Docs is very cloud based, in terms of like people can actually join live editing sessions with Google Docs, and they can see changes automatically appear right in the doc while other students are typing in. So people can ask questions and post notes and ask, what is this? What is that? I'm not understanding this area. Really cool. Just not a lot of students are actually aware of it. So it's not about whether or not these tools exist. It's whether or not people know about them. But yeah, what you're saying is actually very reminiscent of what I used to do in high school. Like, if I had a presentation, I used to make my presentations in Adobe After Effects, right? The program that's used for making like action and CGI for movies. Okay, so I may not have always been on point with what my presentation was about, but I made sure that these presentations looked like a goddamn blockbuster movie. Like friggin' flying titles, presentation names, sparks flying everywhere, and it's not like, like some people will go into like, they go into PowerPoint and put in some clip art and like, oh yeah, I made it pretty. It's like, bitch, please wait until my presentation's on. You're gonna have freaking titles and action music and drums playing, and it's just. I think I'd always get points for like making a presentation look pretty. I would like make presentations in Adobe Flash with programming of the keys and making things fly in and out and just video encoding, and that was basically my approach to presentations back in high school. So yeah, fun stuff. I think teachers kind of saw my creative side. It's like, okay, well, I will not deny that you put a lot of effort into your presentation. You may not have covered quite all the points of your presentation, but it looks like you worked quite hard on making it. Oh man, it's a goddamn miracle that I actually passed high school. Like high school didn't teach me how to, appreciate history or how to do math. High school taught me how to cheat very efficiently. Oh god. I remember like me setting up a cloud Wi-Fi access point and playing Counter-Strike with the Korean kids across the classroom. Just set up a server, play like Dust for like 2 hours straight. man, history was like the worst. Not that I don't appreciate history, it's just that, like, how is the knowledge of when this, and that signed the declaration of some farmers union bullshit? Like, why? How is that going to help me? I would appreciate if, for example, they would teach us like this in revolution was a civil revolution when so and so workers could not get these and these benefits, and these certain conditions affected their family in this way, and this is how this was resolved, and these are the changes that this particular declaration made to the life quality of these farmers or these union people, and this is how this particular issue was resolved, right? Because you can still learn from history, but the year when this declaration was signed will never, fucking never, help me in solving my problems. Like, maybe when I'm running a studio and I have employees, maybe knowing how that particular declaration has helped the lives of those union people, because then I could kind of apply it to my condition or my situation and come up with a similar solution. But no, like, we can't work these days because so and we won't be able to get this work done on time. How can you solve this problem for us so that we can kind of come up with a compromise? I don't know, but did you know this declaration was signed in 1960 fucking something year? Isn't that helpful information? Fucking garbage. Garbage. The only reason that prevented me from dropping out of high school was just to get that credit, just to get my little stamp that says I finished high school, just in case. I didn't want to have that door closed on me if I wanted to continue post-secondary, like a full 4-year post-secondary in whatever field I was going into. But you know what, right now I might as well just kind of concentrate on concept art and see if I can come up with a portfolio that is detailed enough to show that I'm competent enough to make these designs that work with the game. Oh shit, man, I would have loved the high school to teach people how to do taxes, because I had to figure out that shit on my own. Okay, I kind of want to take out actually this thing because it looks like it has a ball sack on the side of his head. Let me just kind of, just that never happened. Kind of maybe just continue this ligament here. Lots of stretching in places where stretching is supposed to happen. Yeah, man. You can't teach kids how to, do the taxes or how to invest into businesses so that they may have a prepared retirement plan, so that they may spend their money in a smart fashion. No, we have fucking sex ed, because we need to tell that the penis goes into a vagina, and that's how children are made. And we need to tell these assholes that you need to be careful. No, we're not going to tell them that you can put this and this amount of money by doing research for this into the stocks of this company. You can research their performance and look into their business and invest your money to that stock, so that later down the line you will have the money needed for your retirement without having to work in a shitty part-time job that you don't want to work because you're forced to work there because of your condition. No. We need to tell the kids that a penis goes into a vagina to make kids. and that you're supposed to use a condom. Like, I don't know, how many kids in the US, honestly, out there, don't know what a condom is? Just, you know, it's an honest statistical question. How many kids don't know what a condom is, what it's used for, and where kids come from? Like, is there actually a character named Timmy who wonders, why does his dick get hard when he looks at a hard girl, and not knowing why? Just, you know, fucking A. I would appreciate sex ed if sex ed taught how you can use the money that you have with minimal income to make sure that your child gets education, or gets the proper medical care, or gets, you know, the benefits that a parent is supposed to bring to their child. That would be like sex education, right? But no, sir, for that. We don't care about the well-being of our country. Fucking politicians are not interested in making smart people who can make choices for themselves. Politicians are interested in making obedient workers. Okay, this ball sack is still present. I need to, like, kind of fade this thing in here. Like that. Now I need to make this look more like a dehydrated prune. This is kind of too bumpy. This kind of suggests that there's still moisture in the skin, and it's really not. It's supposed to be more dehydrated, more dry looking. So, I said this on another stream that I'm gonna have to get concept art research on, like, corpses, and I would not display those images on the actual stream, because that kind of makes my stream very child unfriendly. Holy shit, there's a lot of gory images. Oh my god. But this is kind of this is the grim side of concept art. You have to look up some really grim shit to get the image looking right. Oh god. Let's see. What can we... Actually, what if looking mummies? Can I look up mummies and not get flagged for making mature content? Can I? Although, I mean, on this particular stream, I did show Dr. Manhattan as a penis, so I'm pretty sure I've crossed the line of mature content at this point, so... Yeah, let me pull this thing up. I might as well. Mummies. Okay. Okay, so... Wow. Grimy. Well, if I weren't gonna get flagged before, I think this is basically it right now. Yeah, that's basically kind of what I'm thinking. It looks a little too much like a brain and a wrinkly skin. Oh my god, look at this motherfucker. I got a bone to pick with you. Oh god. Let's see. That looks terrifying. But then again, maybe mummies are not quite appropriate to be searching because they are supposed to be somewhat preserved. There's this, oh, just remember, there's this really creepy documentary of a found Chinese mummy. Because Chinese were practicing the similar craft too. But basically, it was some feudal character, a feudal woman, who had her body almost perfectly preserved. Like it wasn't even like looking like this. Like, yeah, this is what a preserved mummy. No, it looked like it died yesterday, and they said it was like almost 1,000-something years old. That was the creepiest fucking thing ever. Like, they said the skin was smooth, the muscles were intact. So you know how like a corpse gets stiff because of rigor mortis and just general degradation. It looked like the body was buried literally a week ago. And it stumped them because they wondered what kind of preservation materials they used and what kind of chemicals they used, right? And that was just the creepiest thing that I've ever watched. And it was awesome. It was creepy stuff like that just makes up great stories. And yeah, it doesn't look like, oh god, this thing looks like a prune. But yeah, it doesn't look like mummies is gonna work, because the look of mummies is somewhat generally preserved. I'm gonna have to search up for actual corpses, which I cannot show on stream. Even though I kind of crossed the line of that bullshit with Dr. Manhattan. Yeah. I don't think searching for gore would actually do it, because this is not a gory site. This is like a very dried up type of deal, which is kind of why I gotta like figure out the head thing. Let's see, I think actually, let's see, I believe the impression of, yeah, see, it's because when I look at the shape of this thing, it has a sense of roundness to it, which makes it look like it has volume. So this is probably why I'm getting this effect. So either make these more frequent, so like add a whole lot of folds that kind of follow the same line, and make them less round. So this would basically be more like a texture. Let's see if this kind of gets somewhere. And I guess I should just make it less chunky and more stringy. god. There's this Reddit, there's this subreddit called the 50/50 challenge. They put like a whole bunch of Reddit entries where it says, this could be either a kitten eating like a lemon and reacting to it, or this could be a guy in the factory getting his head ripped off by a piece of machinery. Will you take a chance? And then the links are encoded, so you can't see what kind of content it is just by hovering or copying the link. It's just going to be all encoded. And you go to the link and it's like, oh, it's a kitten. Oh, kittens. Or it's going to be just footage of a guy getting his head ripped off by a piece of industrial machinery. Yeah, that was not a fun day. And Markiplier did a video on that too. I think it was like skipping most of the grimy stuff, and he was censoring a lot of the bullshit. But yeah, that's basically the challenge. Kind of starts to look more like hair, which reminds me, I need to actually add hair. But it wouldn't be an absolute black hair. It would be something pretty dark, but like, I can use the pen pressure actually to define. It's probably just two people. It's you, someone else, and I have a copy of, I have a tab of the stream open on my computer, so that I could see the comments and kind of respond to the comments. So one of those things is me. One of those things. I find a lot of the times when somebody drops in on my stream and I have just like music playing and I'm just sitting here kind of quietly working on this, as soon as I say something like, okay, so I'm done with this, I'm just gonna do this, as soon as I say something, they seem to leave the stream like, oh god, this guy has a voice? He can talk. What kind of bullshit is this? Like, as soon as like okay, I'm done with this piece, like 2 viewers. It's like, motherfucker, what do you want me to do? I like to talk and comment and have a conversation. There's a purpose to doing a live stream, so that I don't have to sit here alone and have a conversation with myself, because that's never ending. That always seems to end with an argument. I can never agree with myself. So I'm not on good terms with myself. Oh god, let's just get this thin strands of hair, just kind of makes it look creepy as shit. I should probably refrain from adding hair to the top of this head, or to the top of on top of the image, at least for now. Not until I'm satisfied with what I'm seeing here. You know, one strand at a time, not too many though. A Serbian film. I actually tried to start watching that movie several times. The format is a little boresome, I'd have to say. I think I just have to get to a certain part. But it's not to say that, you know, Russian films are necessarily bad. Like, I, for example, enjoyed the friggin' hell, what was it called? Stalker, the movie by someone Tarkov. And that movie was like slow paced. It was very very artistic. Great movie. And I was kind of commenting about it. A lot of people say, oh man, you're gonna fall asleep during that movie. It's like, no, never did. Never even got a glimpse of boredom. That movie was actually that good. Okay, so I feel like, let's see. Right, Serbian film from Serbia. Yeah, I got it. You get the general idea. Not the main point of this conversation. Ooh. Oh my god. If I want to get references for like corpses, I should probably watch like Bones. That is such a chick flick show. Such a chick flick show. Not a bad show though. I watched I think like 6 seasons of Bones. Just for the mysteries. A little cringy though. Just a little bit, like compared to other shows. Like I'd say Grey's Anatomy is probably a better chick flick than Bones. It's ugh. The characters are not very exciting either way. So what's Sarge doing, eh? I think you guys kind of left off there for a second. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to fix this, fix the head. No I have not. Unless I did. Hold on, let me Google it. American Horror Story. No I did not. No, I did not. It's actually just creating too much contrast. You know what? I have to say that if I ever had a chance to finish my post-secondary, I'd probably go back more for animation than concept art. I have total appreciation for concept art. In fact, I got into concept art because the book that they used to showcase the results of previous students, which is how they usually get you to join these courses, was amazing looking. And I said, I wanted to do this. I actually went to the college with the intent of signing up for animation, because animation is a much demanded skill. But, you know, the people just showed me all the right books, and I said, I really want to do this. Because when you can do animation, you can pretty much do concept art, you know. It's almost cross-compatible, actually. When you do concept art, there's a lot of animation stuff that you learn. What's my train of thought here? A lot of the same, like, overlapping courses in the first few years. Composition, perspective, life drawing, color studies. So when you work with oil colors, there's a separate course for working with watercolors and like gouache and acrylics and whatnot. Separate study for like classical drawing. So when we get a subject like a vase with a plate with, you know, apples and whatnot. Yeah, lots and lots of different things. Uh-oh, that's my phone. Website developer is trying to reach me. Well, website developer can suck my shit. Because website developer looks like spam. Thank you, Truecaller, for letting me know that some faggot is trying to get a hold of me. And you, good sir, are going into my block list. Because fuck you, I develop my own websites. In fact, actually, the wiser thing would probably be to pick up the phone and listen to whatever the fuck they have to offer, and just ask the stupidest questions for as long as possible, so that you could waste as much of their time. So let me kind of figure out what I'm supposed to do for this head. It doesn't look too horrible. That is a failed experiment over there, so that did not work at all. Kind of just average this place out. Here we go. I'm gonna have to come up with something else for that area. Okay, let's see. What can I do for this? Repeating this pattern is not really. Wait, hold on. Let me try to see if I can do like skull reveal, like just, you know, put a contour there for all these rips, and maybe get another one that's kind of going that way. Okay, so now if I take a larger brush and just kind of trace the inside a little bit. You know, I find Facebook ads and YouTube ads are very ineffective earlier in the game development stage, when you need like a more personal following. Find it very because when you have an ad that doesn't target one single person personally, it makes the entire ad looks very impersonal, which makes it seem like you don't really care that much. And interestingly enough, when I was promoting this game in its earlier stage on Omegle, I've actually gotten a lot of the people to kind of follow that project. It wasn't for this particular game actually. It was for the second game, Artec Rise. But I got a lot of people to actually follow and vote for the game on Steam Greenlight, and that's how that game got greenlit. Not because of the initial rush of voters when you put up your project first time on Steam. It was the group of people that I've been sending from Omegle when I was promoting this game, one person at a time. A little harder to do that with the campaign for getting the VR hardware though. It's much harder to get people to buy your album. Because, then there's money involved and just people don't trust. Usually. And they have the right to, It's their money, they should do some research, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I kind of want to average the tones over here. Well, that actually could work. That could actually work out. So it would usually be the skin tone with the skin degradation that kind of has all the texture information. Let me put on some music actually. And that. Just a little bit. burgers. Burger patties. From the meat burgers. So I'm generally happy enough with this piece. What I want to do is I want to explore just another variation. And for that, I can just copy it over, and I can go ahead and also copy over the backgrounds. There we go. That variation is essentially the variation with no jaw. Actually, it's probably better that I don't remove it. I just, whoops, color this in. So here we go. I'm kind of in the general ballpark of what I want for this thing. Or at least I'm getting there, is what I mean. Just need to kind of lighten these things up a bit. You know, ever since I switched to the daytime, I'm feeling kind of tired. And I think it's kind of I think it's kind of a feedback of just how badly I've been screwing up my sleep pattern with these just sporadic sleep hours. I would sleep like in different times and like different days. When I didn't have work, I'd sleep until like 4 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon, and obviously that would be the time that I would work until like 3 in the morning. And now that I'm back to kind of a normal sleep schedule, I'm like pretty tired, and that's not good. It's like I'm not lasting an entire day in terms of energy. So hopefully, if I keep up with the new schedule, I'll restore this. Yep, sounds good. And Gizmo's here to take over, so, you know, don't worry. Gizmo's doing the babysitting of the concept boy. Until the concept boy becomes the concept man. Hey. might actually have to expand the chin here. And I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. Just get on this. I think I got my point across with the face. I don't think there's too much of anything I can really add to this right now, at least not at this point. So let me just test one tiny thing up. Color, set it to multiply, and so let me check if I can kind of come up with a suitable color. Oh, for God's sakes, come on. Wow, okay, this color wheel is pure garbage. I'm gonna have to use this thing. Actually, hold on. Instead of that, I'll use the other one. Hue wheel, hue strip. That one. Nope, not what I wanted to do. There we go. So this is kind of what I want. Yeah, but fuck it, I'll just use it here. See, I should probably stick to hue, saturation, and value dials, because I'm adding a whole lot of values, and the value is the black and white piece, not this one. So I should just do hue and saturation of the color. That's all I'm gonna use here. Actually, I should probably go with a colder color on the light side and a warmer color on the other. I see a lot of that be done. But if it's green, it kind of makes it look more organic. So, I should probably pick like a blue color. Like this. Just like this. And I can just copy that over there. There we go. Actually, probably not. You know what? No, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up. Yeah, you can see how there's a whole bunch of value that's been added. Not good. Not good. It's kind of interesting. Actually, there we go. That's what I need. Because then I can just color it in without it falling outside. And I should probably stick to the full value. With the brush. So let me just do that. So now we're back to whatever value I was using. And I'm going to go to a red, more like red-ish. There we go. And just kind of have at it on the other side. the other one, I'm actually gonna veer some things up. Might as well. Let's go with a greenish. Let's have a look. Maybe even just try. I might as well stick to cold colors being on one side. Well, the other side would probably be more like yellowish. Okay. All done. At least for this piece. I want to say, I mean, there's probably some stuff that I want to fix up on this side. Some of these transitions, but that's alright. There's lots of imperfections that one could just take forever to fix. And I'm sure that if I come up, or if I open this image up tomorrow without looking at it, I will see lots and lots of stuff that needs to be fixed. It's kind of the nature of art. And I get this a lot with music. Something may sound interesting or well balanced when I'm writing it, but when I come back to it, my ears have adjusted, they have rested, and I can basically take in a fresh perspective on the piece. But for now, this is fine. So, Phantom. Wow, this is a huge image. Real big. Here we go. I'm probably going to take a break. First of all, for the sake of grabbing something to eat, as I haven't really had any proper breakfast yet, which is probably why I'm feeling kind of low on energy. And two, to make sure that I actually separate different pieces of art, concept artwork, into different videos, because if I continue this, it's just gonna, shove like 2-3 pieces into one single video, which is not good. Okay, so thanks everybody for joining me. I will be back in maybe about 30-45 minutes. Gonna make myself some food and continue this. If I know Gizmo's listening, you should be there in a sec. Or, not in a second, once I'm back. So, see you in a bit.